Me? Hi. I like music. A lot. Heck, I play an instrument in the band. Also, heck, a couple hours ago, I just submitted a leadership application for the marching band. So yes, I am quite into music. I'd love to learn more instruments, but they expensive. I'm too much of a wuss to ask anybody to borrow an instrument. Ooh, and I'd rather spend my money on video games. Like I've been keeping my eye, for example, on Splatoon Raiders pre-order at Walmart, where it's only $50 as opposed to 60. So as long as that deal's still going, I'm gonna have that on my radar. Ooh. Ooh. Because now there's several costs that go into an instrument. Especially maintenance. Like if you play woodwind like me, I play the clarinet. There's two main things you'll be buying. It's going to be reeds and court grease. Reeds more often than court grease. Like I've been running on the same thing of court grease for years, but you aren't going to need more court grease eventually. But you know, as an extension to me liking music, I like rhythm games. It's actually probably one of my favorite genres. Maybe like my second favorite. I try to vindicate myself playing rhythm games, being like, oh, it helps my sense of rhythm. Oh, it helps train my ear. Oh, this helps with my hand-eye coordination. And while that's not exactly false, I'm sure there are a bunch of better things to help with that. Like, oh, I don't know, practicing my instrument. Which, you know, my director tells me to do. And I do it. Just not, like, you see this here? There's music right here that I've been practicing. But you know, I should probably do it more often. Rhythm games, if I had to rank them, are probably my second favorite game genre of all time, with RPGs coming in at number 1, with strategy games probably coming in number 3. And if you were curious, my bottom 3 are probably stealth, fighting, and I don't know for counting this as its own genre, but gotchas. And if we don't count them, then probably life sims. Not to say I don't like games from these genres, but overall they're not for me. Rhythm games are just good vibes, man, especially if they have music that you like. This is why I love games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, because I am a fan of rock and adjacent music genres. But neither one of those is a game I'm covering today, because I don't have a means to play the game properly right now. I'd need a guitar controller, and while I do have decently easy access to them, I don't actually own any for personal use. Big shame that Rock Band and Guitar Hero had to die, because I love them. More so Rock Band, I've had a better experience across the board with them. Probably because Harmonix actually knows how to make games about music, and actually they started both Rock Band and Guitar Hero. Rhythm games have somehow been able to innovate for years and years. Most rhythm games you can pick up these days can and will give you a unique experience each time, but they do all have one thing in common: immaculate vibes. There's nothing more headbanging than playing your game along to the music you're listening to, and even better if it feels like you're the one actually making the music. Now, there are a bunch of games out there that are actually designed to help you learn an instrument, such as Rocksmith with a gamified coat of paint, but learning a new skill is for losers! And it makes me jealous because I do not own a guitar. And I do want one, but someone please give me one. The games I'll be talking about today do not teach you how to play an instrument, just to be clear. I play video games, not attend classes. Who do you think I am? Now, video games. Where to start? Alright, let's start somewhere that we're all familiar with, right? A rhythm game flagship, if you will. Now, what could that possibly be? Persona! People play like, I don't know. If you watch my 3DS video, you'll know that I'm a Persona fan. Well, isn't it convenient for me that Persona has games that encompass two of my favorite genres? It certainly is, because we have 3 Persona rhythm games, but I'm only talking about 2 because this one, it's ass. Just trust me on this one.
Persona 4 Dancing All Night is a PS Vita and PS4 game that sees the lovable cast from Persona 4 get together to do some sick moves in the name of the power of friendship. Because we all know that solves every single problem in the world. There is a story mode in this game that I will not be talking about, but let's just say it's padded and pointless, and I don't care. Like, I love these characters, but holy balls, bro, it drags. As a rhythm game, it's pretty simple. Press button when icon reaches certain point on screen to the rhythm of the music. Basic shindig. I have to give this game lots of props though. Atlus could have easily licensed a different rhythm game to put a Persona coat of paint on. Like, Sega, who owns Atlus, also owns the Hatsune Miku games. Hell, Hatsune Miku is in the game. Good stuff to Atlus for making their own thing, because holy, is this fun. It's incredibly simple, but that's no problem at all. I love this game. It's actually the game I've played the most on my PS Vita. You have 6 main buttons to use in the game, the triangle, circle, and X buttons, and the top, left, and bottom buttons on the D-pad. You also have another input that you can use either the touchscreen, joystick, or the bumpers for. Just between you and me, use the bumpers. You have 3 main notes to hit. Single button notes, which are pretty self-explanatory. Press the single button with the circle, blah, you get it. Then you have these purple notes. I think they're purple anyway. I'm colorblind. That you press 2 buttons at once for. So that'd be 1 face button and 1 directional button. And on the highest difficulty, any combination is possible. But on the lower difficulties, it'll just be the buttons directly opposite of each other. So keep that in mind. Then you have your sustained notes. Just hold the button and release at the proper time. And while sustaining, your free hand can still be occupied with other notes. Finally, these thin circles are scratch notes. These are the ones you can use the sticks, touchscreen, or bumper for. You know, with the Vita, it would have been real funny if they tried to use the rear touchpad as an additional option for this. It'd be garbage, but I think it could be a little fun. Scratch notes are very important for the road game staple of some kind of extra point mode. This game calls it Fever. Each song has predetermined fever points, and points as in points in the song. Your job is to make sure you fill your fever gauge before a section starts. You just need 3 fever scratches to fill the gauge, and every song has at least 1 fever section. If you're doing well enough in a song when the fever section comes up, then your main dancer will be accompanied by another character, and they do some fun stuff. Most of the base game songs have multiple partner possibilities, which you do have to unlock, and if you want the platinum trophy, then make sure you do those. Your success and score in a song is determined by a couple of things: your combo and your note accuracy. Each note on the screen can receive 1 of 4 ratings: perfect, great, cool, or miss. You obviously want to shoot for perfects and greats, because if you want to keep your combo up, you need to hit them, because a cool or miss will reset your combo. Save for one exception, where if you hit a cool during a fever section, you'll keep it. And you want a combo because that'll increase your score drastically. I'm serious. Play a song and check the score difference when your combo is broken only a couple times as opposed to not at all. It is a massive gap. Speaking of which, I should have mentioned, scratch notes can be missed to your heart's content. They don't reset your combo at all. There are 4 main song ratings you can get: Not Clear, Stage Clear, Brilliant, and King Crazy. I'll put it out there right now. It requires effort to get a stage clear. I've only managed to do it a single time, and honestly, it might be more impressive than a King Crazy. I'll go over what it takes to get each rating. Not Clear is actually quite easy to achieve. You see these vibin' dudes up here? If they ain't hype by the end of the song, then you don't win the song. You get hype by hitting the notes. Duh, but their immaculate vibes will decline immensely if you start missing notes, and the song can even end prematurely if you miss too many in a row, so don't do that. Stage Clear is if you have the little dudes vibing by the end of the song, but you still play like AF. You won't see this one very often, at least I hope. Brilliant is probably the rating you'll get the most, because it's probably the easiest to get and the rating you'll probably settle with if you aren't gunning for max rank. Just play like normal and you'll get it. King Crazy is the perfect rating. If you score all perfect and great notes if you score all perfect and great notes, including scratches, then you'll get it. King Crazy is by no means easy, but I decided to get all King Crazy ranks on every song, which I actually did over vacations for the most part. Hell, sometimes even in the car, which you would think would make it more difficult, but I actually locked in those times. This game is peak. If you have a PlayStation 4 or 5, I recommend it. Granted, this game is only available for purchase in a bundle with all of the dancing games, but you know, even if you skip Persona 5 dancing, it's still worth it. Persona 3 dancing in Moonlight is more the same, but with new remixes, which are some cases better than some of the Persona 4 remixes. I will say the menus in this game feel a bit more bland than the Persona 4 menus, but that's more of a nitpick from me. It's not that big of a deal. There's a new single type of note in the game, and it's kind of pointless, but whatever. Two notes that are on the same button may have a little bar connecting them, and basically you can press them both in quick succession with little regard for the timing of your second note, and it'll still be counted as correct. It's stupid, it doesn't exactly help unless you start panicking and press buttons haphazardly, which, okay, fair enough, I suppose. But it has to be pretty conveniently timed for both your panicking and the placement of those notes. And sometimes it can be physically painful for me to do something out of time. I'm serious. It hurts. In all honesty, and this is just... In all honesty, this is just more songs to play along to. Like, this could have been a DLC for Persona 4 dancing, and the experience would have been pretty much the exact same. Speaking of DLCs, the Persona 3 DLC and the Persona 5 dancing DLCs seem to carry over to one another. So if you have a P5 DLC and you can play it on you can play it on P3 dancing. Handy if you use a cartridge, but I have not inserted a single game cart into my Vita. I don't own any. I mean, it's a little jarring seeing Goro Kechi in my Persona 3 game because he is nothing compared to my goat Shinji. Anyway, that's enough Persona for this video. There will not be any more. Since we're already talking about Sega properties, let's talk about Hatsune Miku. I was once on a school field trip, and this one person was adamant that I was a Hatsune Miku superfan. I tried to convince her otherwise, but I don't think she believed me. And my coverage of the Project Diva games here are probably not going to help my case. There are quite a few Project Diva games, originating on the PSP, I believe, and then we got entries on the PS3, Vita, 3DS, and most modern platforms, including PC. Today, we're talking about one of the entries on the PS3 and Vita, Hatsune Miku Project Diva F2nd. This game is a sequel, hence the second part of the title, and it's not like it matters. Like with the Persona dancing games, it's just more songs. The main game sees the button prompts showing up all over the screen. It utilizes the 4 face buttons as well as the D-pad, which can be both used in place of the face buttons and in conjunction with them. There are also sections with these stars that use the joystick. Just flick it, and you're good to go. The main notes you'll see are regular button prompts, with the shape being the face button you need to press. And then there are some sustain notes, press and release at the right time, and then there are these prompts with an arrow. This needs you to press a face button and the corresponding directional button to hit it successfully, and that's really it. Quite simple. There are 2 types of unique sections, those being technical zones and chance time. Technical zones are basically just harder sections that if you ace, you get some extra points and such. Chance time is like a fever mode, but with the added feature where if you score high enough in it, you can activate this big star for massive points and maybe even activate something cool in the background. The notes you can hit also have ratings: cool, good, safe, bad, and miss. Cool is the best, and a good still helps your combo. Safe and lower resets your combo. There is also a note rating if you hit the wrong button, showing the rating you would have gotten had you hit the proper one, with a just with a question mark after it. If you look down at the bar here, it goes up as you do well in the song. You need to meet a certain threshold to pass the song, and the extra thresholds you pass will improve your rating even further. And no, I have not gotten perfect ratings on any of the songs because this game is actually much harder than Persona Dancing. It's actually kind of brutal. I do like this game quite a bit. It's really fun, but it doesn't run the best on the Vita. It's not that surprising, though. It's also not that big of a deal. Yeah, so there's more Hatsune Miku to go. This is Hatsune Miku Project Diva Mega Mix, which is the most recent Project Diva game for modern platforms and PC. This game is more of the same, fundamentally. Several changes were made, for better or for worse. This game was a collection of most of the songs that came from previous Project Diva games, and then even more with the DLC, which I do have. The game does look quite nice, and while I'm not a fan of Vocaloid at all, these songs can be a vibe. I just wouldn't listen to them in any other context. So this game keeps the standard gameplay, but a few things were removed. For one, the arrow notes where you had to hit 2 of the matching buttons has been replaced where you just hit 2 labeled notes. This can be more interesting, sure, but it clutters the screen much more. Sustains have been changed to extra credit. All you need to do is press the button, and then if you don't sustain after that, you don't lose any points. But you should still hold the button because you get more points contributing to a song rating. The nice thing about this is that you can use your other hand to keep hitting notes while you hold. But the problem is, if you press a note with the same button as the one you're already holding, your sustain ends and you don't get any points past the amount you already got. The game obviously accounts for this, but listen, It's not satisfying to have your vibes get struck down, man. There is a new type of note in this game called slides. They're kind of like sustains, but they are hit with triggers on the controller, and they are points central. Look at when you hit one of these and see what happens to the bottom progress bar. That is some good and satisfying stuff right there. I've had a problem with this game where it stutters for a second and then comes back and tries to catch up, and it's very disorienting, and it obviously makes me do worse, which I do not enjoy in the slightest. Not to mention, this game can get absolutely insane. Like, this stuff is wild. Look at this. I can't see anything. People play this.
What the fuck? It's fucking spinning. It's fucking spinning.
I don't have the commitment to lock in and do well in this game, especially because my controller can be occasionally stinky and not want to do what I want because of the way the D-pad works, which isn't really the controller's fault. It's just that sometimes I'm not accurate, and the controller can amplify that. Sega kind of abandoned this game, at least for PC, could benefit from a patch or two, but I don't think we're going to get it. Moving on from Sega now, don't worry, there won't be any more things that are overtly Sega in the video. Rift of the Necrodancer is a rhythm game along the same vein that Rock Band kind of is, but gamify it much more than Rock Band already did. Instead of just having notes, you have monsters that all behave differently, and you need to figure out how they work to hit them at the right time. Otherwise, you miss them and you're done for. And when there are a bajillion monsters doing a bajillion different things very fast, this gets incredibly hard. When I first saw this game, I was like, why are there only 3 lanes? And then after playing the game, I'm like, oh, that's why. You'll think you have everything figured out, but then things start coming after you at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then you lose, and your day is ruined. So, you got monster types, then you got monster variations. So, like, there are these slimes that just go straight. The color determines the number of times you need to hit it. If you have to hit it more than once, then you hit it again on the next beat. So, make sure you count.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
Then there are these skellies, which the basic ones you just hit once, and then the shields you have to hit multiple times in one beat. Think triplets and 16th notes. There are also skeletons with different colors where you knock their heads off, and then they rush straight forward till they hit something, and they come right back. If you couldn't tell, that part was not in the script, but I remembered it, so I put it in there. These dragon things are sustains. Don't worry about releasing at the right time. You just need to worry about where your other fingers are, because stuff will be continuing to happen while you hold. There are these bat things that change lanes when you hit them. Different colors move different ways and vary from 2 to 3 hits needed. But the good news is they move predictably, so you just have to remember right. These ninja things will stop around 2 or more beats away, wind up, and then that's when you have to hit them. These other things can be quite similar, but instead of winding up, they just sort of skip a couple beats, so they can be a bit more surprising than the ninja dudes. Then there are these skulls that you just have to hit once, and then they spawn skeletons. The lane at which they are placed depends on the way the skull is facing. And then there are these zombie dudes, which hop around lanes before you hit them. These guys can be quite disorienting, because I sort of guess where we'll end up, and then I'm wrong, I have to panic press the right button. Another enemy type are these armadillo-looking things, and they are triplets pretty much, at least with the count structure. For most of the variants, you won't hit all 3 triplets. There are also modifiers that the track can have to change things up and affect the monsters on screen. They're there to make you panic. Don't panic. Just listen to the music and you'll be fine, mostly. There are these pieces of food that might show up from time to time, and be sure you hit them, because it heals you, otherwise if you miss too many notes, you fail. There's also a sort of overdrive mode, made very similar to that in Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Hit notes enough in a row to charge it up, and then activate it, and boom! More points, and you can't fail. Everything is great. This game is great. Despite only using 3 buttons most of the time, it's one of the more engaging rhythm games that I've played, and I highly recommend this one to anybody who likes rhythm games. One thing I would like to kind of see is a practice mode that doesn't have all the monster types and instead just like the skeletons and maybe the shield variants. This would help get your song under the fingers so you don't actually, before you actually have to read it. And before anybody says this wouldn't work, it would, because all the monsters do is just sort of make it harder to tell when you need to press a button. And having skellies would make it so all the actual beats you press buttons on are shown, so that you can worry about the monster later. Now this might defeat the point for some, and it might be cluttered extremely, but I get it, but I like to see it, though I wouldn't be surprised this would be a lot of extra work, and I completely understand why it's not in the game. Moving on. Osu is an iconic game, and one of the more popular ones. If I had to describe it, it's an aim trainer to the beat of the music, while also being on crack. The main Osu gameplay is these dumb circles showing up and you have to click them. It sounds simple, and it is. But where the problem's coming up is how damn fast it is. You would not expect it to be that hard, but even on like a mid-tier difficulty, it's still pretty hard. Especially these sustain-like notes where you have to click and then follow this path with your cursor, and I swear, this is how I lost the most points and failed the most. I'm so sorry, Pierre the Platypus. I'm surprised how people commit to this game. Even more so that they decide to use a pen and drawing tablet for optimal gameplay. I think the main obstacle comes from moving your hand to the beat. It's much more difficult than it sounds because you have to move smoothly a lot of the time. And I have much more of a preference of separate and defined beats. Like when I march backwards, I prefer to just get my foot where it needs to be on the beat instead of smoothly gliding from beat to beat. This is mainly because I have balance problems, which they're not my fault, okay? I didn't want to play any of the included charts in the game, so I wanted to install the Perry the Platypus theme song, as you have seen. And also the greatest song of all time, We Are Number One, Baby, woo! Unironically, the song is a great chart, and I actually had a great time struggling through it. Being accurate and fast at the same time is a crazy thing to accomplish for my dumb brain, which is why I'm guessing it ends up being muscle memory for a lot of the people who play this game on the regular. Now, what I haven't mentioned yet is there are 3 other modes from this game, and all I can think of is, why? I have not heard anybody talk about the other modes ever in my life, but I guess they have a big enough audience to keep them in the game. First, there's a taiko mode. Like, it's literally the exact same, but I don't have a taiko drum to hook up, so there's no point. But the good news is, I can just use the mouse. With the difficulty that I played on, I only had to use 2 inputs as opposed to 4, as I'm guessing there are, and you'd think the colors would help here, but no. I'm colorblind, for one, but it didn't affect me here. And 2, even with the colors that I can see, color coding things has never helped me much. And honestly, I think I would have done much better if the notes weren't colored and instead labeled 1 and 2. I don't know, man. The brain's a weird thing. This mode is significantly more forgiving than the regular mode, oddly enough, even though I would say it's easier overall. The next mode is Catch, and it confuses me a lot. Because I don't exactly understand what the challenge here is. I mean, sure, the score threshold is higher for better ratings, but like, people play this? This was interesting to experience a single time, but this is not fun. I guess it's to test your ability to make more subtle adjustments, but when I'm using the arrow keys, that goes out the window. I'm gonna guess and hope this mode is compatible with a paddle controller of some kind, if people still make those, because that'd be the only way I'd find this fun at all. Like, you aren't meant to play Pong with the Atari joystick. You were meant to use the paddle for more accurate control. Like, literally, look at it. It's the same apparatus, pretty much. The freaking Catch thing is Pong paddle. The final mode is the most standard of the 4. You press buttons when notes appear on the screen, you have sustains, pressing multiple buttons at once, all that jazz. It's probably the mode that I vibe with the most, considering it's the most basic rhythm game shindig. Not much to say about it, and that pretty much covers Osu. It's really strange, and honestly, I can't tell if I like it or not. I have no real complaints, but I can certainly tell it's not for me. So I'll just let this one rest and maybe revisit it from time to time. We'll see. Rhythm Heaven. You may have heard of it. It's had some entries in North America from the DS, Wii, 3DS, and soon Nintendo Switch. Well, yeah, we're not talking about any of those today. I'm talking about the original game that released on the GBA. In Japan only. And, believe it or not, I'm not Japanese. So I don't think I was meant to play this one. Rhythm Heaven is like if you took WarioWare and turned it into a rhythm game. And this is a sound idea. Get it? Sound. Now, I like WarioWare, which actually also debuted on the GBA, so cool beans. The game starts up with this thing that I don't know what it's for, but it starts giving me a beat, so I start pressing to the beat, and then the game gives me a sheet of paper. Why did it give me a sheet of paper? I was not looking to be judged on my ability to stay on the beat before the actual game even started, so I was a little insulted. We do a beat thing a few more times, and then we get put in the main menu. So, I'm not Japanese, go figure, but I also can't read it either, so I kind of have to guess. But my game logic tells me the top menu option is most likely the main game. So I click it, and lo and behold, It's the main game, and there's only one thing to select, so I select it. Here is a barefoot man, and he is going to do some punching. There's more Japanese text that I can't read, so I don't read it. And then some douche starts throwing things at me, which is not only very rude, but now I have to deflect these things before they hurt my ego, so I must
Lock in.
I missed the very next object thrown at me.
My ego has been hurt.
This was obviously because in rhythm heaven, I was not given a beat. I'm sure once I'm given one, then I'll do much better.
Fuck! Oh, hello.
Yeah, so I learned pretty quickly that this game is not very forgiving. It wants precision, but there's a problem. My controller takes just long enough to press so that starting my press on the beat will mean that I'm late. Almost every single time.
Rushing or dragging. So you do know the difference. Oh. Hello.
Continuing the game, I play a few more mini games. Hey, it's an onion. Oh, too bad it's not the onion.
Bad joke, yeah. I know. I can't go lower.
This robot game kicked my booty because there are 3 inputs that I have to do in this one, and they're determined by audio cues, which aren't in Japanese, so another loss for the dumb American. After a few minigames, we get our first remix stage, and these are the best parts of the game. You're playing all of the minigames that you just went through, cut up and interspersed through a song that you're listening to. It's really fun. And once you get the vibes of the minigame and song down, it feels incredibly natural for your occasional input of the A button, which is the one thing you're usually doing with maybe a brief visit for some other buttons. And once that remix is completed, we unlock another column to play more minigames, as well as this column over here, which for the most part are just for freestyling beats and craps. Oh yeah, beats and craps and beats and craps and beats and craps. Oh yeah. A time waster, pretty much. Moving on to the next column of games, these put much more attention to the fact that my controller is holding me back here. Take this game with the mice running from the cat. I have to press and hold the A button to stop, and then I release once the cat clears. But I was constantly releasing late every single time. So instead I had to release slightly early, which didn't feel great. But it got me through. And then there were the stupid kimono girls. This minigame was the most brutal and unforgiving of all of the ones that I had played thus far. And not only that, it was easily the longest to get through even on a single run. Audibly, this minigame is a treat. I had a great time listening to it, but playing it was a chore. First of all, the minigame is about clapping at the right time. I didn't know when to clap, so I figured that it was these Japanese characters I had to clap on every time, because that's when the other characters do it. But no, that's actually not the case. There's one instance where in the entire minigame where you clap and it doesn't have that Japanese character. And when it showed up, I figured, oh, I shouldn't clap because it doesn't have the right symbol. But no, that was wrong too. Turns out these clapping beats are a different color. Guess what? I'm colorblind! I have a kind of colorblindness that makes these two colors look almost identical, to the point where I'm still not sure if there is a difference or if I'm just going crazy. I'm assuming it's yellow and green. If someone leaves a comment, please tell me if they're different colors or not. The next and more pressing issue is the timing of these claps, because I was counting, sure, but when I hit the beat, I pressed, and I was wrong a lot of the time. You can tell by how you're doing this girl in the back's reaction, and then the girls that you're clapping with, but I could swear I'm on beat, but no, I was off, and sometimes I'm correct for the first 3 claps, but even though these claps are in groups of 2, I was getting the last clap wrong consistently, and I have no idea why. I eventually completed the stage by using the highlighting of the lyrics instead of the beat, where I started my press right before my clapping part lit up. I had to treat my controller like a percussion instrument where I have to wind up my hit, and then begin my hit before the note actually needs to sound, so the note does come out at the right time. And it's not like I'm bad at doing something like that with drums. I know it's not the same as real drums, but I've had decent success doing that with Rock Band drums, and sure, it's not the same, but the core principles still apply. This game with the kimono girls literally took me 20 minutes. It was ridiculous. Another complaint of mine is how the game doesn't telegraph some things well. So here's an example. This samurai game has 2 of this type of monster at the very end, but you only see it once before that. And sure, you learn to count it after that first time, but who says you're gonna remember? And then when it goes dark, no less, and sure, it's no issue the second time around, like my second playthrough of it, but I shouldn't necessarily have to fail because the game didn't teach me properly. Especially when the minigame itself isn't even that interesting. This game has a lot of stuff in it, from minigames to extra modes to doing the weird beat test. Again, okay. It'll keep you occupied and engaged, and that's probably the best part about this game. Because even though I'm not constantly pressing a button, I am still engaged because I have to count. Just trying to feel where the beat is doesn't work very well, and that works to the game's advantage, I think. I do think the game has a great style and looks really good. I've always liked pixel art, and the GBA as a whole just does it for me. But speaking of which, how is anybody supposed to play this game on a tiny GBA screen? Like, take the baseball minigame. Occasionally, it'll zoom out, and I had a hard time seeing the ball on my monitor. And sure, you should be using your ear for the most part, but visual cues are also quite important. In the baseball minigame, you sometimes have to hit a ball after 3 beats instead of 2. And that might not be super obvious to just the sound. In the Onion game, these hairs with the curls have to be held until fully pulled, so being able to see things is definitely important. Now, as I've just ranted on about for a bit, I actually do like this game a lot. I had enough fun to get a whole hour of footage for this game, so kudos to you, Nintendo. Looking forward to Rhythm Heaven Groove this summer. Now, this is an interesting one. Remember Friday Night Funkin', that indie rhythm game that took the internet by storm several years ago? Well, that's our final entry on this list today, because, I don't know, this game is fascinating to me. It's so simple, but at the time it garnered quite a loyal and active fan base with a vibrant modding scene for a time. And I used to keep up with it because I used to play this game on the regular, and all the mods I found interesting. This is a game where you just take Dance Dance Revolution, but remove the expensive peripheral, and you just use your keyboard instead. And that's the game. So since I last played this game several years ago, they've added 2 new things to it. Okay, seems a bit low, but when I learned what the Kickstarter money was spent on, yeah, I'm not surprised. If you know, you know. Shame too, because the Kickstarter had several promises that were obviously not delivered on yet, so I don't think it was intentional at the beginning, but those backers got kinda scammed. Let's start off nice and light with the content that's been here a while. Let's play Week 7. So here you face off against the Newgrounds mascot, Tank Man, in an epic rap battle of pretty much the equivalent of Sims gibberish, or Animal Crossing speech. When it comes to a rhythm game like this, the most important thing when your core is decent would be good charting. Something that feels fun and mostly natural while still being challenging. If you have to make too many awkward movements and button placements, it's not fun. Too few and you get in the vibes too quickly and turn your brain off. That's at least how it is for me anyway. This first song in Tank Man's setlist is pretty fun and has pretty good vibes. Not too bad. But then we get to the second song and, yeah, it's a bit difficult. But it's okay. I got it on my second try. And the final song was pretty easy, but, Pickle makes an appearance. Character I do not want to do any research on because, yeah. No thanks, Barchacho. Speaking of him, the next stage starts him rapping against his former compadres. And these charts are pretty hard. I actually didn't bother trying to beat them all, because I was not enamored with the charts or the music, so I moved on and, oh. More cutscenes.
Hey, check this out. I figured out something neat with my powers recently. With one single tap, I can pretty much learn any language.
Pretty much.
Kakuyo, ne? And the best part is, it works on other people too.
진짜요?
Turns out, human languages aren't really that complex.
Are you sure about that? Oh, she dead.
3,
Oh no,
2,
she not dead.
1,
She's
go.
smiling actually.
So, first of all, with all the money this game made, they could have hired an actual woman to voice act this. Like, dear sweet Jesus. I get she's technically a demon and all, but like, I don't think that means she sounds like a pitched up dude. And secondly, yes, languages are that complex, dumbass. Did you learn nothing from the game I just talked about before this? Losers. And thirdly, who the hell are these people? Why are we singing about spaghetti? And why can't I understand a word you're saying? Like, I'm pretty sure the bulk of us is in English. But there are so many lines in this thing that just sound like gibberish. I'll occasionally hear words that point to food and pasta. If the massive load of pasta wasn't obvious right there, and again, who are these people? Why would you bother collabing with a game that's way past its prime? Because I don't know when this came out. I never heard of it. At least I heard when the Pico stuff came out, but this, nah. I failed this chart too. I don't know why. I suppose I just wasn't locked in, so I didn't bother finishing it. And I want to relegate this to being a fever dream anyway, so I'm just going to pretend like it never happened. This game mechanically is kind of weird. Nothing is stopping you from just spamming buttons, but there is a setting for that, so I'll give them props. But sustains in this game are busted. So here, this bar determines your health bar pretty much. If it goes too far towards you, you lose, but if you successfully hit notes, then it'll go the other way, and as long as you don't prematurely lose by the end of the song, you win. Maybe not with a great rating, but you still win. Sustains will move a bar in a considerable amount for as long as you hold them. So if you have multiple sustains in a row, then you'll be pretty much good and as a position as you could possibly be. It doesn't stop me from losing. I wasn't really locked in. Before I finished recording this game, I wanted to revisit an old mod that I played all of the time, Mid-Fight Masses, which was one of my favorites and one of the more popular ones. But there's an issue. I couldn't find a download for the mod, so I had to play it through a browser. And let's just say there were issues with the performance, which can make it very difficult to actually do anything. I like the music here a lot, hence why I used to play it so much. I got to a point where I could play the charts with almost no effort, but that was a very long time ago. And another thing that surprised me, this mod used to have an extra difficulty, Alt, which could be actually played with all pre-existing weeks at that point, but I guess it was removed. Because I'm pretty sure the charts are the same with the standard hard. The Alt difficulty did have some interesting quirks, like notes disappearing from the chart, which I still have no idea to this day if that was intentional or not, but it was fun, it was interesting. One thing I'll never understand is how much this game took off. Like, yeah, it's fun, I enjoyed it, but it really wasn't that special. Because there are plenty of other games out there that have 4 lanes where you just press buttons. Like, hell, we just saw that with Osu. I guess it was all of the YouTube coverage, which, yeah, there was a lot of, especially with all the mods that were made, that kept the game alive for way longer. But there's something on a technical level that this game does that others don't already do or can't already do. Despite it not being one, I think Friday Night Funkin' falls in line with a lot of the indie horror games that mainly children like. So what Five Nights at Freddy's is. And this is this is mainly due to the YouTuber coverage, because otherwise little Timmy would have no idea what Friday Night Funkin' or Five Nights at Freddy's is, which are actually quite close in acronym. Just remove the preposition in FNAF and you get FNF. And quick side note, technically speaking, the FNAF acronym should look like this, because prepositions aren't meant to be capitalized in titles. No, I'm not an English teacher. Anyway, FNF is a weird one for me. While it was pretty good back in the day, nowadays it's just kind of a rotting corpse.
If I had to pick one game throughout this entire list to recommend, it'd be Rift of the Necrodancer. It's probably the most unique. It's super fun, and it's not that expensive, about $15, and it's quite worth it. And sure, Osu's free, but like, it just depends on the kind of experience you want. I certainly don't want the Osu experience, but I love the Necrodancer experience, so just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But anyway, that was the rhythm games. Hope you enjoyed listening to me yap. I haven't tried this yet, but please consider liking and subscribing. It'd mean a lot, because these things, they take time. And I want to feel better about making these videos. Please, but whoever designed Rhythm Heaven, I'll see you in hell!